Alright guys, today for your enjoyment we have a 1981 Suzuki TS 250. I don't know if this bike runs or not. The guys that got it from said that it did when it was parked, but we got a little problem down here with some oil leaking, loose chain, a few other things. Shocks are blown, and we're missing a few parts. So I think what we should do is clean this thing up and kind of evaluate it, maybe put some oil in, see where it's stripping out. So let's get into it, see if this thing will go. Alright, we're going handheld here, and I'm going to give you a walk around. I've got some degreaser put on this bike, and you can see how greasy this thing is. I put the stator cover back on and put some plastic underneath it, and then covered up the carburetor because we don't have a boot or an air cleaner. Alright guys, well we're back over at the shop here. I figure we ought to check this spark plug real quick, see what's up with that and how she looks. And if we need to clean it or whatever, we can. And we still need to take this plastic off. You guys reminded me about that before we kick this over, would you? Alright, well, that doesn't look too bad. It's not oily, doesn't look fouled. Let's check our gap. Alright guys, we're supposed to have 32 thousandths of an inch, and we do not. So let's run this up the ramp on the gapper a little bit. Okay. Call that good. Yep, alright. And let's do ourselves a favor. Let's turn this ignition on and just kick it over by hand and check for spark. If you guys will just watch that for me, it'd be really appreciated. Alright, hopefully you guys could see that. We do have spark. So I think the next thing to do is I'm going to shoot a little bit of oil down the cylinder, just because I don't know how long it's been since this is run, and then we'll put in some gas and oil. I might just do premix, even though this is a oiler type system. So it's pre-injection system. I don't know if the injector is working, and I don't know if this is leaking. It looked like it was. It's hard to tell because the bike was so gooey. So we'll see what we do here in a second. I'll spray just a little bit of oil in here. We don't want to hydro lock this. I just want enough in there to kind of lubricate this before we start it. Spin this engine over. And we kicked this over before I brought it home, and it had good compression, like really good. So I'm hopeful she'll run. Okay, get that spark plug in there, just snuggles. And it's like our choke is now operating correctly. I've gone through and sprayed everything relevant with WD-40 to get all this water out of here. I just don't have the gasket for this yet, but I'm going to either get one coming or make one so that this is watertight. You do not want this getting wet in here. Okay, we got fuel coming down the fuel line here. I'm not trying to fill this up too full. Okay, well, let's go ahead and see if she'll fire up. I'm using this 2-stroke oil for like a weed eater, so it's premix. And if this does run, we'll just burn all that out, then we'll test that oil injector. All right, boys and girls, here's the big moment. Is she gonna run, or am I gonna kick myself stupid? No gas leaking out. Oh, she popped. Let's tap on the float bowl just gently, see if we can dislodge the float. I think the float might be stuck. That needle could be stuck up in there, shutting off our fuel supply. It's also choked. And it's 100 degrees out here. It probably didn't help. Okay, we're getting there. Sounds like a fuel supply issue. All right, so it will run. It just won't stay running. So let's take the carburetor off and see if we've got a plugged pilot jet. Stuck float, the works. I still kick myself stupid. All right, well, since we're missing our boot, there's only one screw holding this on. So let's just rotate this around and pop her free. It was much easier than the Kawasaki's I've been doing lately. These Kawasaki's, the older 70s bikes, you got to take the whole cover off and the carburetor's behind it. What a pain. Let's take our slide out of here. We obviously need some screws on our side panels too. They're already cracked, so we don't want to make it any worse. I'm going to end up taking a gas bath here. Okay. Don't really want to take off this fuel line too bad for the reason that I may not be able to get back on there. I'm just going to take the bottom of this float bowl off. See what's going on in here. All right, hopefully you can see inside there. There's just a tickle of sediment down inside that bowl. Not bad. And our gasket looks okay. So there is some goo in here. So let's just check a few things. I don't really want to mess with this. This looks like our idle mixture screw. And I don't want to get into that right now, but your pilot jet is down this little hole, and you know, that one's the one that tends to get clogged a lot. And then let's take out this float real quick. Let's see if I got some cleaner to blow through there. That needle looks pretty good. Let's feel it. Your fingernail is a pretty good indicator if there's a ridge there or not. I don't feel one. I just see a slight witness mark. So we want to protect that. I mean, if we don't have to put a kit in, then, you know, that'd be great. Take out this seat too. Oh, well, fuel line decided to disconnect itself. All right, there's our retainer. I'll make sure we keep track of that. And then check our seat in here. There's no obstructions. I don't know if you can see there, but there's nothing in it. It looks good. So let me go get some cleaner, and we'll blow through these passageways, and we'll take out that pilot jet and main, and see what we find in there. Boy, we should have done this in the shop. I've got the 71-125 and the KM100 in the way though, and now it's starting to rain. Who'd have thunk? It was 100 degrees and now it's raining on us. Welcome to Utah. Alrighty, it looks like quite a bit smaller than 8mm, so we're prepared. And I've got the little people wrenches. They're actually called midget wrenches. Craftsman is not very PC. They are very PRC, if you get my meaning though. It used to be American made, now it's made in the People's Republic of China. China. That's how you say it? China. Alright, this looks like it's a 6 mama. And it's not very tight. And now we have extra bits in there. Oh, and we're dropping things. There's some goo underneath there. So we'll leave out our 6 mama and put our little people wrenches back in the pouch here, because we might have to run for the hills. Okay, let's get some of this crud off here. And then let's take this pilot jet out and see if it's clogged, and then we'll run all these passageways. And I'm not going to mess with the idle mix or the idle screw either, not unless we need to. Just do the bare minimum to get this thing running. It looks plugged. That idle jet looks like it's got some crud in it or something. Or excuse me, pilot jet. Now, I can't see through there, but that doesn't mean it's clogged. Sometimes it's just a little bit of moisture in there that kind of makes it look like it's clogged. So what we're going to do is put the flashlight on it. And it indeed is not clogged. I'm going to blow through it. The hole looks round, so that's good. Let's run all these passageways with some cleaner, and then I'll put this back together. And maybe what we can do, if I can finagle it, is to pre-fill the float bowl with some fuel. And let's just check our fuel flow while this is off. Okay, that's great. No problem there at all. One thing I did notice is that spark did look a little bit weak. I don't know if that's the plug or if the ignition system's a little weak. On these older bikes, sometimes the magneto can demagnetize, so that's something to be aware of. I had that happen on a 1980 Kawasaki KE175. All right, let's see if this thing will start. Got the fuel on, it's flowing. Keys on. not even attempting. Well, disappointing. Let's take this spark plug out and maybe we should clean it or replace it. See if that makes any difference. First, I want to see if we're getting fuel in the carburetor here. I'm just going to take out this bottom plug. I ran all the passageways several times and we were good to go that way. Okay, we've got fuel. So remember that, you can always crack that bottom of that float bowl if it's accessible. I just cracked open the drain there and that confirms we've got fuel. I don't know what the fuel level is, but if you wanted to know, on this particular bike, you could actually take this out, make you a fitting to thread in there and put some of this fuel line on there, and then you bring that up above the level of the fuel bowl with the bike sitting level. And then you can watch that in that clear tube and see where your fuel level is and measure that. Kawasaki has instructions in some of their manuals to actually drill a hole in the float bowl and make it so you can plug it with like a rubber plug or a fitting and do it that way. There's no way I'm drilling a hole in the float bowl. So the next stage is to check this spark plug, change it, clean it, and whatever else we need to do, and see if that helps our situation. Now, we're gonna look in here too and see if we've actually got fuel on the plug. Okay, and we do. So that means we're getting fuel all the way from the carburetor past the reeds, and it's sucking the fuel charge in there, and it's wet. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I think we're just not getting a good spark. So let's go sandblast this, and then we'll see if we can get a better spark out of it and see if she'll fire. All right, so I sandblasted the plug, and then took it to the bench grinder with a brush, cleaned that all out there, and then regapped it. So it looks pretty good. Electrodes look nice and clean. So let's see if this is going to help us. I don't see any fuel running out of the carburetor, so that's a good sign that our floats are correct, or, you know, close. We know we're getting fuel into the combustion chamber, so there snuggles again. All right. Still does not want to start. Let's see what kind of spark we've got. I don't know, that spark looks pretty weak. I know you guys can't see that, but that should be a lot stronger than that. So let's try a different plug and see if that's the issue. You know, you could have an issue up inside this insulator or something, or everybody's worst fears confirmed. We could have a problem inside the stator and magneto. Magneto could be demagnetized, or we could have a problem in one of those coils inside of there. So let's go change plugs. All right, I've got a B7 ES that's in decent shape. We're gonna try that. That spark still looks pretty lame. All right, guys, I got it fired up. Oh, holy crap, it's pouring out oil. I think this oil pump in here is messed up. Something's wrong with it. But what I'm doing here, what I decided to do here is use the drill. I ran this down the driveway, popped the clutch, everything, it wouldn't go. And then once I got it going, it started running away on me. So I put in a different spark plug. I put in a B9 ES, and it's brand new. And then I had to jam a screwdriver in here because this has not got the unscrewable zip top. So let's see if I can get it running again and show you guys. All right, here we go. Maybe. Oh, helps to have the key on. All right, key was off. That's down. See, that's what it did before, and it caught, and then it kind of ran a little bit better and a little bit better, and then all of a sudden, rah, I just started going nuts. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. Yeah, so will it run? Kinda. I think we've got some ignition issues. But that being said, I've got good compression, and it will kind of run, and no, it won't ride or drive, but let's see what we can do about that here. Let's look at our plug again. Oh, my goodness. That is not good. That plug is too long of a reach for this. Hopefully we didn't knock a hole in the damn piston. I should be able to run that. All right, let's try this one more time. That was not good. This calls for a B8ES. I didn't think a B9 would be a problem. I guess I should have looked. Now the drill's giving us problems. Well, she tried to fire. I do not like the chucks on these Milwaukee drills. Man, they're annoying. Well, that's a problem. Try taking that choke off. Ooh, that was scary. Yikes. So yes, it will run. Something's not right. So yeah, I think we're going to conclude that here and start doing some digging and figure out what is going on with this, because it just goes berserko. All right, so the question is answered. Will it run? Yes and no. So what's happening, I believe, is once this cylinder is getting warm enough, it's igniting under compression, not with the ignition like it should be.
I figured out the problem. I'm an idiot.
Alright guys, after all that, I thought we were having a lean scream issue, and then it dawned on me it couldn't be a lean scream because the ignition shuts it off. So I started looking, and I thought, well, it acts like it's at full freaking throttle here. Turns out it was. Somehow the throttle slide got up in the bore and got cocked all the way to the top of that carburetor. Now when I put that in, I felt it go down, but it wasn't down. So I went in there and looked at it again. Sure enough, full bore. That's why the bike was going nuts. So as soon as I put that back where it should be, close that bore back down on the carburetor, turn it over with the drill, and it idles nice. It actually seems to run decent. So will it run? Yes. Next up, we're gonna see if we can ride it a little bit. So stay tuned. Let's try starting this again. Let's try kicking it. Side cover. That thing is powerful. That sucker, you crack that throttle just a little bit, she'll stand right up on you. Now that's how a 250 should be, not like my Logie Kawasaki. That poor Kawasaki's got to have a top end something fierce, and this just shows you how bad that Kawasaki is, because that 175 I just sold has more power than the Kawasaki. But this baby, she fired first kick. So will it run? Hell yes it will, and it rides. And man, we get all this stuff put back together, get us an airbox and stuff, rebuild our shocks. This is a rideable bike, boys. We'll have to go out and do a trail ride like we did with the 77. This is Reaper signing off on another one. Thanks for watching, guys. If you guys are interested in a future video on this, maybe doing the chain adjustment and front shock rebuild, comment down below. No snarky stuff though. Guys, let's keep this channel positive. I'm not doing this for money. I haven't made a dime off this. Let's build a good community here. Let's be adults. Let's be happy adults. All right? Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.